Welcome, everyone, to this month's Spencer Virtual Campus. We have a very special guest today with Amy Cooper, founder and CEO of Rise Professionals. And we're going to talk today about social selling for next gen leaders. All of you are leaders in your own right, and we know social media is super important, and Amy does it best. So, Amy's going to teach us her ways. And so, Amy, welcome to this month's Virtual Campus. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you, Daniel, so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today and talk to you all. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and social selling is online and off, but we're going to focus on how you can start to create a presence for yourself. It's one of the biggest career advantages I really think that young professionals can build early, which is visibility, which is just creating your brand, turning relationships into trusted relationships that can turn into opportunities for you down the road and in the future. I'll give you a little bit of background about me, and I'll also give you a little bit of background about Rise before we jump in. So I actually did not see myself having a career in quote sales. I went to UCF for engineering. I was really good at math and thought that I definitely wanted to be an engineer. And then, when it came time between junior and senior year to get a job, there was some poster on campus that was like, oh, you can make like, I think it was like $15 an hour, which was a lot back then. But anyways, it enticed me to go work for this company where I had an internship over the summer, and they really had the best training. So they taught us sales and marketing, and I had an amazing time there. But it turned me on to the fact that I like people and that I didn't think I wanted to be an engineer anymore, and I think I wanted to do something else. So that's kind of how I got started. But as I pursued more of that sales and marketing, I think that a lot of things have changed over the years, but the one thing that hasn't is that whether or not you choose a career in quote sales or not, you're always going to be selling yourself. So, however, the skills that we talk about today, they don't really apply to necessarily just a sales role. They apply to no matter what you do in your career. Social selling is going to be what opens doors for you in the future. So for those of you who don't know about RISE, RISE stands for Rising Insurance Star Executives. I founded the organization back in 2017. It was really just meant to be a way to identify top rising professionals in the industry and then turn around and give tools and resources to those rising professionals to build leadership, to get access to mentorship, to build their education in the industry, and also connect with other people. Rise has over 10,000 members now. We're mostly here in the US, but we're out in London and Canada and a few other countries as well. We focus in on the human skills side of insurance, so building empathy, leadership skills, management skills, time management, everything to do with leadership that you need to know to have a successful career. So you can join Rise for free. If you don't already know about us, hopefully you do. But if you don't, riseprofessionals.com, you can join and follow along. We have events all over the country. We have a pop-up in Columbus next week. We'll be in Fort Lauderdale in June, and hopefully we'll see you at some of those. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in to our topic today. But I'm sure a lot of you have heard that your net work is your net worth. I think some of you have heard that advice before, but I also think that it might be a common misunderstanding that many students believe that they need experience before you can build a brand. So you're graduating college and somebody tells you you should have a LinkedIn, and you're like, okay, cool, but like I don't really have a lot of experience to put on there. I don't know what would somebody even want to hear from me as a student on LinkedIn. But the truth is actually the opposite. Building your presence early actually creates opportunities for you faster. And we'll dig in on some actual actionable steps that you can take even while we're on today's webinar to get you set up. But I'll say relationships are what drives opportunity. Every time I've ever gotten a job in my career is because of somebody I knew. It wasn't because I had the best skills or my resume was awesome. It was always through a referral. And visibility is a way to create credibility. So, visibility out in the industry, when you go to networking events, when you create a presence online, um, showing up with consistency, being authentic, that's what's going to build credibility for you. And I think that in an age where everyone cares about an online presence, building your personal branding now can matter. And I had someone early in my career say that either you're going to decide what people think about you or they're going to decide. So you either put something out there that's going to be your brand that you intentionally chose, or if you decide not to put anything out there, people are going to assume things and they're going to create their own version of what your brand is. So either you take control or you're just going to let people decide and you may not like what they decide. But the point is, you definitely don't need decades of experience to get started here. Some of the people in this photo here are people that I just happen to have run into and met at a conference. You've got Lauren Dietrich on the far right. She is COO of Arch. She's somebody I met at a women's networking thing, and then I ended up convincing her to come speak at Rise. But that was just networking. And I think that that's something that's really cool. And you'll see a theme throughout here is the people that you start to connect with, you never know what's going to happen in your career, and you never know when you're going to need that person or when they might be able to help you. And people change jobs all the time. So, building relationships authentically, regardless if they can do anything for you, is going to pay off in the long run. So social selling in like a very simplistic way, it's building trust before you actually have a conversation with them. So it is networking, it's sharing ideas, it's creating familiarity, it's putting yourself out visibly so that people think that they have an idea about you before and they become familiar with you before you get together. Um, Social selling is not going to be like bulk spamming people on LinkedIn with a bunch of messages. It's not like being an influencer, even though I have people that I call like insurance influencers, and I'll show you some of them in a little bit. Uh, but you don't have to do that. Um, and what you can see here is just like a snippet of an article that I just posted on InsurTech 360. And I think that putting out content like this and figuring out ways to sprinkle in stuff, that's just how you're getting people familiar with you and your voice. And your voice matters, and the opinions that you have matter. And people are looking to the next generation for what's next. So even though I don't think, there's a ton of reason why people would want to listen to me, you have opinions and you put them out there and you come to find out when people reach out to you that something that you said resonated with them or something was important. We've had a lot of conversation around um, like every generation that comes in, like when I was new to insurance, it was, oh, these millennials. And it's just like all the things that they wanted to pick on millennials for. And as I've watched Gen Z come in, they do the same thing about Gen Z and they find little things that are different that they want to pick on. So I just put an article piece out there that was like, hey, like you're looking at it wrong. And also, by the way, we do this every time there's like new people entering the workforce. And maybe it's not about them, maybe it's about the way that you perceive change and the way that you look at people. Um, so just a point is like putting your opinions out there can be helpful. So we were talking about like how people care about like what's out on the internet now. They're going to Google you. They're going to look at your LinkedIn. They're going to want to know you before meeting you. So if you apply for a job, you apply for an internship, they 100% are going straight to LinkedIn and typing your name in and checking you out. And if they can't find you there, they're going to Google and they're going to check you out. So if you have a way to control that narrative, you want to make sure that you do. And because insurance is a relationship industry, they're going to want to look to see who do they have in common with you. And so that's why building your network, building your LinkedIn out is going to be very important for credibility. Um, and then just kind of back to the opportunities that relationships build. I had seen Brenda Ostenfeld on line a bunch. She is out there. She has a really great profile. Go check her out. She's the president of RT Specialty. And when I saw that she was at a Women to Watch event, it was this women's networking thing in New York, I'm like, I'm going to go up to her and say hi. And I'm going to introduce myself. And so she has no clue who I am. She doesn't even know what Rise is. But I go up, I give her a good handshake, and we end up talking. And it started a relationship that ended up in her coming to Keynote Rise last year. It's turned into Opportunity, where RT is a corporate member of Rise, but also where we have this really cool mutual respect. She's a badass. Like, she is amazing. And so, like, she's somebody I look up to as a mentor now. But really, the industry is really built on relationships, whether you go into the sales side of the industry, or you're in underwriting, or even if you're an actuary, it all comes down to building relationships early. So there's five core pillars of social selling. The way that I would see them, you've got brand, which is what are you known for? Visibility, are people seeing you consistently? Content, are you actually sharing something valuable? Engagement, are you building conversations and the relationships? Like, can you create trust over time with the people that you're talking to? So I'll use a question for you. And I like to use myself as an example because I can pick on myself and I don't take myself too serious. So it's fine. But like, think to yourself real quick and maybe even write it down if you can. What is one thing that you want people to remember about you? And if you actually, do we have a chat, Daniel? Can people chat? Yeah. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Like, what is one thing that you want people to remember about you? And I'll tell you that mine is I want people to come to me to talk about like talent trends. Like, rising talent is my thing. Like, people call on me to talk about generational issues, about return, like any sort of thing related to hiring, retaining, keeping talent in the industry. Like, that's what I'm known for. That's what Rise is known for. And that's the brand. Or maybe my one thing is Rise that people know is my thing. So let me see if I don't know, Daniel, if you could read out some of the chat if people put some in there. I can't.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, go ahead and put in your chat. What is one thing you want people to remember about you? For me, I started with that I'm a connector. Um, Golf. We got golf. So there you go. We got a good golfer.
At least he's
Um,
honest. If she's honest, he's honest.
yeah, I love it. I got a couple more. I want people to know that I think for myself. All right, good. Like that. That how I that I s- I would say that how can I support them? Okay. So we got supportive people here, supportive
Yeah.
brands.
So like your branding, what is, that one thing? And you can't be all things to everyone. You can't pick a million things. You really got to pick that one thing and lean into it. So I know earlier I kind of like said like insurance influencers. Well, there's people that I follow that I think they do a fantastic job really driving home that one thing. And when you think of that one thing, you think of that person. So some examples of this, and I highly encourage you to like go to these people's LinkedIn and just connect with them now while we're talking about it. But Emma Roloff, digital transformation. She's literally the transformation queen on TikTok. So you go and you look at any of Emma's content, and she teaches digital transformation. So if you ever have you're implementing something, change management, some sort of organizational change, she's the authority on that. And she's done a great job. And she's someone who is also younger. She started her career, ended up in some sort of like sales role, and now she owns her own consulting. And it was really because she took an effort of starting to create videos and make her own personal brand around what she did. And it elevated her as this thought leader in the space, and it gave her this additional momentum. Chelsea Adler, who is to me like I don't even know her personally. Like, if you guys know her, just I'm a big fan. So she goes out there and she teaches students how to pass their actual aerial exams, like what you need to know. She's constantly making videos, putting pictures out there, putting valuable content to anybody who's like wants to be an actuary. Like, she's the one. Like, you go follow her stuff, you go look at her. Curtis Goldsborough, he's also known as Loss Ratio. He has like a internet persona he's created. But he's known for inspections. Like, he's always looking at like what kind of pipes are in this hotel and like do they have the right connectors or roof stuff. Like, he is that person and he makes it funny and fun. So for people following his content, like it it's very entertaining. Matteo Carbone, all things internet, insurtech, IoT, like that is all of his content. Tony Kanyas is out there. He's got like another little internet persona thing going. But he's insurance nerds. So if you want to nerd out on insurance, you go follow his like posts that he puts out there, his podcasts and stuff. So these are just some examples, and I mention them and I say, like, go check out their LinkedIn's personally yourself after this, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like when somebody does a brand really well. But it's really step one to social selling is you got to know what you're going to be. Like, what are you going to do? And if it's nothing other than I'm a student that's interested in insurance and you're just documenting your journey, that's good too. Until you graduate, then you're going to need a new brand because you won't be a student anymore. But you can lean into that for now. So kind of pulling your LinkedIn profile, this is your first impression to people before they meet you. So a couple of things just to call out here that I would say I'd want to make sure that you do for yourself. So let's get workshoppy a little bit. Professional headshot. Get a professional headshot. If you don't have one, I know Spencer has opportunities. If you come to Rise, there's an opportunity. Some of the conferences you go to on Spencer scholarships give you opportunities like WSIA and Target Market, some of these other ones. Get a professional headshot and put it up there. Your banner image matters. So pick what you want people to see when they go. And if it's, you know, graduating May 2027 and you've got your school up there, I mean, whatever you want, but have something that's unique to you and unique to what you're trying to accomplish. A strong headline. So I'll say I don't even think mine's that strong. I've switched it around a few times, but right now I'm just trying to drive home this one point. But if you take a look, like if it's student at UCF, that's a weaker one. Better would be like risk management student, aspiring insurance professional, passionate about leadership and relationship building, something like that is definitely stronger. And then like better would be instead of the ones that you see with the little dividers all over, is something where it's like, you're a future insurance leader focused on risk relationships and professional growth. So here's some examples. And I would just say take a quick audit of your own LinkedIn right now as we're going through this. And if you want to make some updates, these are some good examples. You also want to have a clear about section. So over here, write something that you think is going to give people an idea of who you are. Your LinkedIn should answer three questions really quick. Who are you? What are you interested in? And why should somebody connect with you? So these items that we're talking about should lend yourself into that. There's also the experience section. Make sure that's updated with descriptions. Add some skills. Like, you'll see my top skills say sales, insurance, management, leadership development, talent strategy. Like, that's what I've been endorsed for. So add some skills in there of things that you have, are aspiring to have, and start to build that out. And then in the activities section, you can actually like pin some featured stuff. So if it's like this really great time you had with Spencer at Rims and you made a post about it, like pin that to your page so that people see that you're out networking in the industry or they see some of your work. Um, it goes back to people are going to Google you, but what are they going to find? And you taking control of creating what people see is the first step, is the first step here. So then the content piece. And I know that this is where everyone gets like, I don't want to take videos. I don't want to put my face on the internet. I feel that way too. I forced myself to do it a little bit. But you don't have to post videos at all. So you can post just a photo, even of something else. Doesn't even have to include you. What matters the most is that you're sharing a perspective. So this repetitive content that you put out, it creates this credibility. Even before you have an experienced job in the industry, you're just building an audience and credibility by them seeing you or seeing your opinions out there. Um, there's a ton of really easy ideas, but these are just some examples I pulled. So Angel's Song, this is her posting at InsurTech 3 years ago, where she was talking about her vision in AI and see when she was with Spencer, but then she got a job in the industry and now we're 3 years forward and she's actually working on this underwriting workbench that she had this vision for and she's sharing this. And so she's got, over 100 engagements and she's built out something. So she's reflecting back, she's sharing some of her experience and she's gotten really great traction here. But this is just an awesome post. So I wanted to share that one. Natalie Ariave, she runs something called the Adjuster Hour. It's a podcast. So she shares videos. You don't have to share videos. You don't have to have a podcast. But this is just also like another really good one where she had a lot of engagement on there. She's talking about, her opinion from where she sits in the industry. So from the adjuster, like the claims side, she's seeing stuff about like hurricanes and tornadoes and talking about damage, and she's just talking about what she knows. Here's Emma over here. She does fun videos. I didn't pick one of the ones where they're being super goofy, but you can look her up and you can see how that is. But talking about here's something like a bold statement, AI first isn't going to work. So she's again that digital transformation side, but she's talking about the jobs and the piece of the industry that's going to be impacted by AI and sharing her opinion and showing a study and talking about what she thinks. So all of these are just really good examples of content. Um, I also like, I don't even know if anyone agrees with me on this, but I think commenting is networking. Like if you go on LinkedIn and you're commenting on people's posts, that's networking. It's just doing it digitally. But you have to do it with like, you know, it can't just be like, oh, that was great. Like, why was it great? Or do you agree? Or is there like something else that would be useful to add into there? Um, if you comment thoughtfully, if you add your perspective, if you are helping move the discussion forward, that's really awesome. And if you want to send a comment with a request, down here is an example like, hey, Sarah, I'm a student interested in the insurance industry. I enjoyed your recent post on leadership. I'd love to connect and learn from your experience. Like, there's a really nice example of something that you can put into a connection request that is professional, thoughtful, and relates back to something that you saw. So you saw somebody post something, you're like, oh, I want to connect with that person. Tell them. It's nice. It creates a relationship. You're starting that. But going through LinkedIn and commenting on stuff, it does help build your credibility online if people see you interacting and providing feedback. There is like a formula for a good post too. I didn't say this on the last slide, but the formula is a interesting first line. They call it a hook. It's just like something like Emma's hook was, I don't think AI first is going to work. Well, now you've got my attention. Now I'm going to look at this. So just kind of like put that out there first. And then sharing a story or an insight, sharing something you learned. When we went to Lloyd's and we did a tour of Lloyd's, I came back and like shared what I learned. And that was my post. And it was a picture of the bell at Lloyd's and shared what I learned. But I had a lot of engagement on that and people wanted to talk about it because they all kind of resonate with some of these lessons, and it can create this online presence for you. And then like the third part of a post, so hook, share an insight or a story, and then end with a lesson or a question. So either it's like in the example I'm sharing about that Lloyd's post, it was, hey, there is still this I don't want to call it an issue or a problem, but there's still this question as an industry that we're going to have to answer, which is what are we going to do if we eliminate a lot of entry level roles? How are we going to train the next generation coming in? What is their job going to look like? As an industry, we need to start working on that, what that looks like. And so it's something that, you know, people are like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start to talk about it because that's what we need to do. Um, so again, like you don't need to be an influencer, you don't need thousands of followers, but you do need some meaningful engagement. And it's funny how many times I'll go to a conference or be walking around somewhere and somebody will introduce themselves and they'll be like, oh, kind of feel like I know you. I've seen you on LinkedIn a bunch. And it's like, well, you don't, but here, let's meet each other now. And it kind of helps break the ice. It helps people feel connected to you anyways, you know. So I know I said you don't have to do video. I will just say it builds trust faster. So people just they connect with faces and stories, and videos allow for you to tell a story and be a little bit more authentic and human and something like that. So I put a couple different ideas down that you can use, why I chose insurance, conference recap, like especially if you're just at RIMS, one of your takeaways from your internship, if you have any career lessons, any trends, any tips or how to. Um, I actually just saw, so Jasmine on our team, she is a recent graduate and she is doing some of our social media. And I just saw her post on our Instagram a reel that she did about networking tips for if you're coming to Rise on how to make the most of it. And I was like, yes, so much yes. Like I love seeing her get herself out there and do that. Um, and over time, you do it a few times, it'll start to feel more comfortable and it'll come to you easier. But I will just put it out there that if you start to do some videos, you can start to get a lot more engagement. I made an observation a while back that I really think that there are a lot of people in our industry who have been promoted, who get hired for really high roles beyond what their capability is, beyond where their resume says they should be, and it's because of their online presence. So sometimes we talk about social selling as a way to build a company brand and a way to sell what you're selling from your company. But today's perspective of social selling is you're selling yourself and you're selling your own brand. And what do you ultimately want out of this opportunity? A job, an internship, or even just an opportunity to interview for one of those. A couple things. It's not, we're not selling products, right? Like it's about this becoming known and becoming trusted and becoming remembered. So don't just post when now it's time to look for a job. Like you got to start now to start to build that online credibility. Don't copy what everyone else is doing. Try to do something that is more authentic or unique to you. I tend to overthink posts. I'll sit on one for days. Don't do that. That's just me. Like learn from me. Don't overthink it. Like the best posts are you just like grab your phone and record something real quick and post it, or you just type something out and hey, it's good. Done is better than perfect, and putting it out there is always going to be more authentic. It doesn't always have to be about you, like pulling up industry trends or what you observed or things like that is it's good to have a mix. And then yeah, just don't try to sound overly corporate because people will call you out or they'll just ignore your stuff because if you don't sound like a corporate robot. You're a student, like be a student. Lean into that. That's okay. Um, Obviously being professional, being consistent, but sharing value, like a post about how I had coffee today is not going to do anything for anybody. But a post about um, how we went to the storage unit today, not exciting, but it got us to thinking about who insures storage units and what does that look like? And when they sell you that little insurance policy there for $11 to cover $2,000 worth of stuff, what does that really mean? And kind of just using those everyday, like boring moments to find observations around stuff. That's just a really great like way to find content. Um, yeah, and you can show your personality, you can engage with other people, all of that's good. So what I want to give you is a 30-day action plan to start building your brand today. So this is a 30-day plan. Week one, you're going to work on that LinkedIn profile. We kind of dissected it a little bit today, but like go work on it. So if you don't have a good about, if you don't have a good headshot, like have somebody take one with a nice white background or, use AI to make it prettier or whatever you want to do. But go optimize your LinkedIn profile. Week two, you're going to connect with 25 people, like 25 people. Do you need to know them? No. Should they just be somebody connected to somebody Yes, or somebody who liked a post or commented on something you saw? I'm working you up to it. Week three, you create three posts. Three in 1 week. You can do it. I know you can. And then week four, comment on 10 industry posts. So the goal here is to become visible. But first, we go back to pillar one, which is brand. Make sure your first impression looks good. Number two, you're creating connections. Now you're adding content. Now you're doing the engagement piece. So through each of the pieces, you're going to end up becoming visible. And if you're extra excited after all of this and you are thinking about summer internships or a job you want to get, and you're like, yeah, Amy, I am going to jump on this. I could just challenge you, like, in the next 24 hours, can you do one of each? Can you make one new connection? Can you do a post? You know, can you do a comment in the next 24 hours and just break the ice and go all in? But with that, I'm gonna open it up for questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. And full virtual campus rules are in effect. The best question will get a $25 gift card, like in months past. I don't see past winners on today, but so if you have any questions, you can either type it on the chat, unmute yourself, and yeah, we have a lot of upcoming things. Oh, I just saw myself in the picture. I was like, wait, I'm in the picture. We have a lot of upcoming events together, Amy, as well, right? So you have your Rise event coming up in Fort Lauderdale, which we have student tickets for. If you're nearby and or wanting to go to Fort Lauderdale, it's a great time to connect with a lot of people. Rise does a lot of pop-ups where we do joint. They always are very generous and give us complimentary tickets for students to attend a golf event or something like that. So stay connected to Rise. I can put their their website on the chat as well, which is riseprofessionals.com. You can create your profile for free. It is a free membership, but it's, a lot of great networking opportunities. So any questions right now or that you can put on your chat? And Tori,
Hi.
I'm going to pick on. Yeah, go for
Yes, hi.
it.
I don't have a question. I just
Mhm.
wanted to say to Amy, well, first introduce myself. I'm with the University of Akron. I'm the director of the Risk Management Insurance Program. I just want to say I love you. I mean, everything you just said, you have me thinking about my own social selling. And I will tell you, I wrote down, you said, don't copy what everyone else is doing, which is just, oh my goodness, it takes me forever to make a post on LinkedIn because I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. So as you're talking, and I know this is geared towards students, but this helps me tremendously, being from a different generation. But I thought, I want to make my post about Risk World. Maybe, I'll do it. I'll do a short video while I'm taking my walk today. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I mean, everything that you said is just so amazing, and I'm sure that this information tremendously help our students because sometimes, especially being, in a digital economy, a digital world, a lot of us just don't have good guidance on what to do in terms of social media or social profiles.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you for
thank you.
introducing yourself, and I'm so glad that you feel like it's helpful. I'm sure your video will do great. It's actually it's funny because most of the rooms posts I saw, they just look like they were AI because they had that same format with like the call out lines and you know how like so funny. I look on stuff I did a year ago and I'm like, oh, that's so cringe. Like you could tell it's AI. Like, but back then everyone wasn't used to it yet. So you didn't think you thought you were fine. And like now it's you gotta be a little bit more like right from the heart, come up with something authentic. But use AI to come up with ideas for you. Just write the post yourself so that it looks like it's authentic. Because I think people are kind of turned off by like the very AI posts now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's a great point. AI fatigue is real. So we have another question. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn Premium? Is it worth it for students? And what are are their true benefits?
So I've had LinkedIn Premium for a long time, up until a few months ago. So it depends on what you're trying to do. Premium so that you can message people in connections is usually like what I had used it for in the past. But unless it's for like, I don't even think you need it, but unless it's for like the job hunting side of premium, that might be, it just depends on where you're at with your job search. But I'd say you can get along just fine with regular. I am right now, and it's totally fine for me. It limits how many messages you can send to somebody that you're not connected with. So like maybe that you only get a couple a month or something, but I don't like to spam people's like messages with connections because a lot of times the people who are doing that are like super salesy. So I actually think it's totally fine just to connect with people without a message and it's okay. I know we shared a message earlier as like an example, but I don't know if premium's really worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. It depends really like you mentioned, right? Like if you're a recruiter for sure, but I haven't had premium in a long time either, to be fair. I have another question. How can leaders and peers intentionally support one another's personal brands in a way that feels authentic rather than performative?
That is an excellent question. It's back to just being authentic. So if they're like resharing people's stuff, but not just the reshare to your audience, but like reshare with a thought and just like put a little something, like add something in, I think is nice. That's better. I mean, if you're friends and you're like other students and people, at least like and share and like repost your friends' stuff. Like I think that helping each other get more reach is different than like a silly comment that doesn't mean much and you're just trying to add something to their post that might feel performative. But I think just being authentic with what you're doing, like think about what was posted, add something meaningful is the best way.
Yeah, great. Next question is, in your opinion, what are the largest liabilities from using social media as a consumer instead of promoting your personal brand like Facebook, Reddit, etc.?
So there's so many different socials out there. I think you got to pick what you're doing for its purpose. So use LinkedIn for work related stuff. So if you're trying like, you do have a liability if you're posting pictures of you out drinking on Facebook. Like we're I think we're past that, but I I don't know, like don't do that. So there are liabilities there. There are also liabilities if you're not creating the right kind of brand. So I have a story that I shared at, I think, a Women's Watch event where I was speaking, and I remember talking to one of our CEO, like our CEO, about somebody that I thought could have been a good hire, and he's, I don't really like their LinkedIn posts. So there is that, but to be fair, the post that he's talking about is like posing in every picture, just with people, just to post pictures of yourself looking good online. That's not really what we're going for. We're going for, like, if you're going for a brand where it's thought leadership, you're out and about at a conference for the right reasons, that's going to come across that way instead of a brand. So, while social media can help you, it can hurt you if you don't do it right. So, back to that question one, which is what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for doing like duck face selfies on social media? No, you do not. You want to be known for a thought leader in underwriting, actuarial, as an ambitious student, as whatever that thing is, and lean into that brand. Don't post just to like post a picture of yourself.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I can see myself definitely doing the antithesis of a duck face in that picture. So thank you for that. Early in your career, which specific networking events or settings gave you the biggest boost in visibility and opportunities?
So early in my career, I was in a specific space in insurance. So I was in like the claims legal space. So CLM to me was that one because it was very specific. It was also back when there was nothing for young professionals. So I didn't have a rise. I had to make rise, but like something that was specific to your industry. Getting involved with like a Spencer or a Rise where we aggregate a lot of the resources. And if we know your major is going this direction, we can make recommendations. For example, if you're involved, if you want to get into SIU, we had an early Rise member and she worked at Nationwide and she really wanted to get into SIU, which is Special Investigations Unit, which is actually really cool, the stuff they do in terms of like insurance, but she ended up and we got her a scholarship to go to IASU, which is IASIU, which is the International Association for SIU. And so she got involved there and she ended up at a job in SIU and that worked for her. So depending on the path you want to go to, I think in the industry there's like Dan, you can weigh in on this, but there's like two of the biggest conferences is like a RIMS and a WSIA. You've got like 10,000 at each, maybe ITC's another 10,000. So going to those gives you like a wide variety of exposure, but they're gigantic and you can get lost. I think my favorite conference size is like 300 people, finding that like sweet spot, smaller, 3 to 500 people maybe would be a good place to get visibility because you'll be able to meet more people authentically. Early on, I went to an IFM conference that gave me access to a lot of senior leaders. Again, that was because of I was working on the legal side, and that was an SIU conference. But I was able to be the only millennial at the whole conference, all of these senior leaders, and I met people high up at Nationwide and Cincinnati Insurance and was able to share my perspectives with them. And that's kind of how I became known as like this person who could talk like voice of younger people to, to the old guys in the room who are not understanding that there's several different ways to look at things. So I think some of that early exposure, just by going to some of these like smaller conferences, you get access to senior people. But I'll like shamelessly self-promote Rise. Like if you come to Rise, you'll have out of 600 people there, you'll have 50 of them are C-suite executives that are CEO, COO, chief claim officer, chief risk officer that are attending. So your chances, like percentage wise, of running into and rubbing elbows with some of these senior people and getting visibility is pretty high. But I
Yeah.
gotta give props where props is due. So CLM, IFM, those early days
Yeah, and I would just add to that. I mean, obviously, conferences we go. Amy and I are always bumping into each other, even in London.
everywhere.
And we all and, we always cross promote each other, which is always great. We're about to do another session recording pretty in a couple of weeks, right? I mean, talk about that.
Yeah.
But I would also add that maybe volunteer, like Rise has a lot of different volunteer opportunities or things you could do, a YRP, RRP, any of those associations. Like there's another way to also network meaningfully because now you're not just another person that you met, but you're actually, showing up for the next gen or whatever it is. But thank you for all your questions. Amy, thank you for your time. We will be posting this on YouTube once the recording and edits and all the visuals are done. So please make sure to share it with your friends. I think today we had the majority of the intern grantees that we sent out across the US and Canada. We should start getting a little bit more now that the summer is in full swing. So we'll definitely share this out to all of our interns, the 38 interns that are being um, uh, awarded through Spencer across the US and Canada. So thank you for your time, Amy. It was very helpful, insightful. Thank you all for your questions. Amy and I will deliberate separately and get back to who she decided was the best question today. And so be on the lookout for that gift card in your email. If there's nothing else, then enjoy your Thursday and we will see you soon. Hopefully next month, just a little reminder, we will edit this out of YouTube, but starting in June, we're going to have weekly virtual campuses for all the interns. So keep an eye out for that. And also it's open to the public, of course. So anyone else that would like to join can come as well. Thank you all. Hope you're having a great summer. And if you're already in your internships, please enjoy your internship. Have a good one.